Anybody weigh birds? Live birds? What do you do?
I'm on a Craigslist, bought a little electronic scale and got a little box on it. It gives you the weight real quick before they decide to pop off. And just sit there and, by the time they figure out what that they can get out of it, it's already out of the way.
Yeah.
I paid $50 for it on Craigslist.
You really, I have seen farmers, yeah, I've seen farmers use every scale that is out there. And I really don't have one that, you know, for turkeys, we have rock when I did it, we hung them right over there in the tree, and we, you know, they hang just for a moment. It's great.
That's what I did this year. I used a landslide.
Yeah.
I used a sleeve of a structure.
Uh-huh.
And I put the sleeve over.
That's
it
great.
to keep it contained and did a landslide. But it didn't give very accurate results.
Yeah.
We do that.
Yeah. Now, I'll just tell you this. If you're a breeder, you cannot weigh too much. Okay, so you might say 8 weeks, or, I mean, turkeys, I probably, Rocco, do you remember how old they were when we weighed our turkeys here?
4 months, wasn't it?
That'd have been 16 weeks. I think that might have been when we first weighed our turkeys here. I would go much earlier than 12 on the turkeys. Any 28 weeks. Okay, turn the page. Let me just give you these blanks. How are we doing? Good. That was rated growth of meat. Now eggs. Okay? Selecting for egg production. This is awesome too. Okay? Because if you have 10 chickens and you're getting 8 eggs, we can go in and assess who's laying the 8 eggs. Alright? If you have 20 hens and only getting 8 eggs, there's a whole bunch of retirement going on. And you can pretty much, there's some things you can learn, and you can tell who's producing and who's not. Alright? Some may need to go to South Florida and spend permanent. Okay? So selecting the Hogan Principles. That's from the book, if you want to write on the top of this page, The Call of the Hen. Walter Hogan's Principles from way back, 1920, I think. It's one of the books in the top 10 list. If you can find that book, it is worth investing in. I've given you his principles. Now, I do want you to notice that I put in that first paragraph. It's important that these principles are applied to mature hens that are in production. They're the same age and the same type. Okay, this is really fun. When I come out on a farm and they got Rhode Island Reds that are 2 years old, Dominiques that are 6 years old, and you know, all birds at different ages, and they go, who's laying and who's not. These principles are best applied when Pat says, I have 70 black Australorps, they're all the same genetics, they're all hatched the same day. These are when these principles are most effective in assessing your farm. Does that make sense? Okay. So, these principles are used. Number one, wide spread between the pubic bones and the keel bone. And I'm going to show you, I'm really just giving you the classroom stuff here. Pubic bone should be of medium thickness and be flexible rather than stiff. Extremely stiff or thick pubic bones indicate that the hen is not laying. The next blank, thickness of individual pubic bones should be a 1/4 inch thick or less. And this, and also with the pubic bones around the vent, I'm going to show you where they're at. And 3 fingers or more should fit between them. All right, that's where that is. Since this is my tail, those pubic bones are the 2 bones where the egg comes out from. All right? When she's not laying, those bones are closed up. When she starts laying, they open up. Okay? And they stay open while she's in production. Okay? They will also be, they'll be soft and pliable. You can pick chickens up that haven't been laying for a while. They're about that far apart. They're really sharp. They're really stiff. Okay? The other thing is that if the very tips should be only curved in just a very little bit. And you'll handle them and go, really? You can tell? You can tell. It's not hard, all right? The farther they're turned in, you women will get this better than us men. The farther they're turned in, what is that, and what could that mean? You get it?
It ain't happening.
It ain't happening. Okay, listen. A hen who has a hard time time laying an egg. It's just no different than a woman who's had her first child was a tough one. I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. Hens are the same way. You can track it. Okay? We have, I mean, Hogan's whole book is on when those pubic bones are curved in and that first egg is a killer for her, she'll quit. And you can actually then, you know, you don't want them straight out and you don't want them, they need to be pliable, and you can actually assess your flock this way for egg production. The keel bone, breastbone, the distance between the capacity for egg organs. So these are those two bones, and then also that keel bone that runs underneath the bird, this distance to these bones right here. And I'll show you when we're handling a bird. That's what I'm referring to there is the keel bone, pubic bone. The distance indicates the capacity for egg organs. Four fingers or more. It's not usual. It is not unusual for a high-producing leghorn to have 6.5 fingers back there. Okay? Great egg producer. Okay? Molting ability on egg production. Birds that molt all at once are preferred. Okay? It's kind of like this. I'm going to lay an egg. I think I'll take a few days off. Lay another egg. I might drop a few feathers, quit laying for a couple of weeks. Kind of going through life. Got these people feeding me all the time. You know? Drop a few more feathers. Who in the heck? Somebody is not producing in this flock. That's what you're thinking. They're real slow. It's very, very common in these hatchery-produced or poor egg-producing quality birds. Okay, you want a bird that molts all at once. The quicker the molt, the quicker they get back to laying. I get calls and emails all the time. My chickens are bald. They're like, what's wrong with my birds? They've lost all their feathers. Are you getting eggs? Yeah, I have 20 hens. I get 19 eggs a day. Great. They're working hard for you. Hard-working birds don't look very good, especially this time. You know, when I'm looking at our breeders, your breeders from Delaware, I'm like, man, they look nasty right now. About all your birds this time of year, they're just going through a hot, exhausting summer, and they were producing for you. You got birds that really look good right now, they're probably like, hey, I'm hanging out in the shade and going out to the beach, you know. So, see, your eyes are your best management tool. I can just come and hang out with your birds and kind of begin to tell what kind of birds we're dealing with here. Preferred molt to occur later in the season. Mid to late September is ideal. That's assuming that, you know, that they were hatched early in the year. Caution, a late molting hen will be out of production for 6 to 8 weeks. If she's molting for 6 to 8 months, get rid of her. All right? Do not cull during September to November because you risk culling your best layers. To retain your best egg layers, ban the birds or identifying that wait to molt till September or October. They drop nearly all their feathers at once. Those are birds worth paying attention to. They grow nearly all their wing feathers back at once. Okay? Molting ability is huge when we're assessing your flock for egg production. Number 3, abdomen. It's soft, pliable. Abdomen is a good sign of a healthy hen. Sometimes a hen will be found that has a very good spread between the keel bones and the pelvic arch, but also has a hard abdomen. Such a hen is likely has a cancerous tumor, though occasionally an egg is mistaken for such a hard lump. And I'll show you the abdomen when we go and handle some birds. Body capacity, the space between the body of the chicken is filled with various organs. When one section of the body is narrow or lacks space, the organs that are in the area must be reduced for space and thus tend to function below optimum. Okay? Fill these in. Characteristic of a hen that's in production. She'll have a large, bright comb. She'll have a bright, large wattles. Her pubic bones will be flexible and widespread. Widespread between the pubic bones and the keel bone. You're still going, what does that mean? It'll all, hopefully lights will go on when we handle some birds. a large, moist vent. All right, Rocco, you got Buckeyes that are laying and not laying, probably, right? So it's real, and I teach this all over the place. You know, I don't know who came up with the name vent, but that's what it's called. So when that hen starts to lay, that vent it'll be opened up, and it'll be very moist. And when she quits laying, I know we're getting a little graphic here, but she quits laying, it'll kind of pucker up, and it'll be dry. Okay, and you can look at every one of your hens, and it'll be one or the other. Okay, so large moist vent, large soft abdomen, and then a hen that's out of production, it's just the opposite. Small dry comb, small wattles, pubic bones that are stiff and close together, pubic bones and keel bones that are close together, a puckered dry vent, and a small hard abdomen. Okay, I just gave you a lot of content, classroom stuff, but just questions before we go any further. But any of that content or clarification? Yes.
In out of production, is this on a seasonally basis you look for this?
You can pick up a hen at any age and apply these and look at these things and be able to tell if she's in or out of production at any age. It's different than what I was saying the page before. See, when you let's just say with Jennifer, or I'll use past flock, they're all the same day hatch. So this is a huge advantage. She has all her osculars born April 15th?
June 10th.
June 10th, excuse me. So all her females that start laying early, it's really helpful. She knows. Hens that start laying late. Now when she's got some that are 4 weeks old, some that are 6 weeks, and you got all different ages, they start laying, you go, well, you can't really say X bird started laying earlier than, old bird. No, it might have been an older bird. So there's always those advantages to raising birds the same age so you can monitor egg production and rate of growth, etc.
Or egg production. You can use these same principles once you have a mixed flock and tell which birds are.
Right, this particular thing. Yes, yes.
Question.
Yes, sir.
On number two, you said under molting ability, you said the birds that molt all at once are preferred. You mean like the whole flock?
No, just
Or just the bird gets it over with?
that's exactly right. The bird that gets
Ongoing
over.
molt.
Yeah. Yeah. Never will your flock all. If you get your flocks dialed in,
I was gonna say, I'm in trouble.
you are amazing. Yeah, amazing.
So what if we have a hen that doesn't meet the criteria? Like we had one that a month ago just went completely bald. Like we came in one day and she was denuded of feathers, and then they all grew back and she's blooding again, I think. And she didn't go out for 6 weeks or 8 weeks. She didn't stay bald for, how long was she bald?
She wasn't bald for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, just like overnight, came in, there was just the little quills were sticking out. She wasn't like skin, just like little.
That was one of those ideal hens we're talking about.
Even though it happened in July?
Yeah, that's like in the middle of something.
So I guess what if they don't meet all 3 criteria? So what if she molted all at once, but it wasn't in September?
Well,
Is she a keeper?
you got to remember this, okay? Is we have to look at when those birds were, what their age was.
So she was 18 months?
Okay. Here's the first molt. 18 months is perfect. Okay. If I hatch them in February, basically I don't want to see them molt until the fall of the following year on a good bird.
So they were born in what, June 3rd?
So-
June, they're a year old. They were, I guess, 13 months old.
Yeah. So she may have molted. She may have molted about right on schedule, and it had to be with her birth, or excuse me, her hatching, and she did it quickly. I think that was a good bird.
She's a keeper.
Yeah.
She's nice, too.
Yeah.